Hi, my name is Cole Lawrence, and for my Do Something and Report It project, I decided to do a home energy audit of my apartment on the University of Minnesota campus. Here's a quick summary of what I'll be going over today. I will be providing you with some background information regarding my project and then turning my data into simple graphs to analyze and then giving a brief overview on ways to save as well as what I learned from doing this audit. What I did for this project was use a kilowatt meter to take a look at 8 appliances within my apartment. I then converted this data to calculate the kilowatt hours of constant and variable power sources. I then used this data to compare the energy I use here versus what my utility bill in my home is on a monthly and yearly basis. From the U.S. primary energy consumption by source and sector from 2017 graph on the right, you can see that the United States relies on the burning of carbon-based fossil fuels for more than 85% of its energy needs. The greatest amount of electric power comes from coal, with 34% coming from it. That also makes up 91% of total coal consumption, and the second largest contribution coming from natural gas at 26%. On the website Electricity Local, it stated that the average residential and electricity rate in Minneapolis is 11.5 cents. That is 13 cents higher than the average rate in Minnesota and 40 cents lower than the national average. Another interesting thing to note is from the Energy Information Association, otherwise known as the EIA, the average residential utility consumption was 10,399 kilowatts per year. In addition, the United States emits about 6 million tons of CO2 per year into the atmosphere, and these emissions have grown by almost 20% since 1990. Here we can see the average annual apartment utility cost broken down by region. As you can see, the Midwest uses about 50% of its utilities on space heating, water heating, and air conditioning. However, for this project, I have only taken the data from a refrigerator and other appliances, and the average total utility cost being $1,290. Here are the appliances I use the kilowatt meter on to measure the energy consumption. All appliances but one use constant power, which means I only needed to measure when the appliance was on and again when it was off to check for phantom power. The only variable power appliance I needed the kilowatt meter for was my refrigerator. I have also included a guess of what I thought would use the most energy in terms of my personal use. I thought that the refrigerator would use the most energy given that it is plugged in and in use all day, with my TV being a close second given that I thought it would use a lot of power to use it daily. Here's a graph that breaks down the average use of the 8 appliances for a week. The refrigerator is a variable power source, therefore it is plugged in 24 hours of the day. On the graph, but not visible, I have a hair dryer since it is only used for about 15 minutes per day, which is very little time compared to the other appliances I measured for this audit. Here is the data I constructed when doing this experiment. This data was converted from watts to kilowatt hours, and then further calculations to show the average kilowatt hour used in each of the 8 appliances. Below is an example of my standing fan to show how I converted the data in the table. From these calculations, I found that the 8 appliances monthly cost is $13.61, and yearly that comes to a cost of $163.27. As you can see from my guess of energy use compared to what I found, I had the right idea with my top 3 being right, but just in the wrong order. I was close, but I didn't get any of them right, unfortunately. According to the Xcel Energy bill from October, my home is currently using 55 kilowatt hours a day, which comes out to a monthly bill of $239.85. That is compared to 4 kilowatt hours a day from those 8 appliances in my apartment. When I estimate adding all these appliances together in my apartment, it is still will only amount to around 10 to 15 kilowatt hours per day. One thing I can take away from this is that many small things add up to a large amount. If I were to conduct a full home energy audit, taking in all of the appliances within my apartment, I would find numerous ways to keep money in my pocket as well as help the environment, and it would provide me with an idea of what appliances to turn off or maybe even get rid of entirely. Some ways I can save is by going towards renewable energy sources such as solar panels on my home, using a power strip to shut off all the power when it is not in use, shutting off all lights and fans, as well as using a power-saving modes many updated appliances have these days. To summarize, these appliances come out to $163.27 a year and does not include some of the largest energy users like heating and cooling systems. Currently, in my apartment, our monthly bill is about $66, and being a college student, we try to keep these costs as low as possible. These costs will be around $800 yearly, so finding ways to save will only benefit me for the future by paying less, as well as helping reduce my carbon footprint, which is something everyone should be thinking about. Are there ways you can reduce your carbon footprint? Your first step can be conducting your own home energy audit. Thank you for listening, and here's a list of all my sources used for this presentation.